So I got the microphone, I got the loudest voice in the room, and I'm kind of sick of hearing this. It's too confrontational. It's too much about fighting and not about connecting and growing together and all that jazz. But as the establishment did allow me, the establishment, this bar, allowed me the opportunity to have this microphone tonight. I'm going to take that opportunity because it is sanctioned by this establishment. I am sanctioned to talk here right now, and I will do so on my own agenda from this point forward. I'm not going to acknowledge this confrontation. So, okay, I came here to talk about a school, and I came here to talk about why we should actually start our own school, and maybe even make a little bit of money off of it. So, there's a long explanation as to why that's actually okay, and why we're going to do it correctly, and I would like to get to that. So, this is not necessarily about Bernie Sanders the man. This is about what we're going to do as a community from this point forward, because that's what the guy wants. It doesn't have anything to do with him. It doesn't have anything to do with a particular agenda.
Political revolution.
It has to do with us, yes, and our political revolution.
Wow.
So that's what we're here to talk about from this point forward. And anybody who does not want to talk about that from this point forward, either be quiet or leave the room, please, because this is what's going on tonight. So, thank you very much. And my name is Imran Cooper, by the way. Let's see. I'm going to start off with why. What I think is important is important. So, the why is that there are too many deprived communities. And there are too many disconnections in their ability to gain a foot in this society. That's a very basic observation, but that seems to be what everybody on the left feels as well, I'm pretty sure. So, how do we take a community and specifically give it a foot up? Not necessarily who we're going to vote in or who we're going to do, this, that, or the other, but how do we focus on us, ourselves, what we can do for us, and not what we have to ask other people to do for us. So, that does not mean that I am advocating not voting or that I'm advocating not participating in the presidential election or even don't make a canvassing for your favorite candidate. That's all part of it. It's all part of what I'm talking about. It's part of supporting the community. It's part of supporting the community values and giving the community something to look forward to and to work on. Cool. Okay. So apparently I have a problem holding the mic because I don't do this very often. Okay, so the why is that we don't have resources. We don't have the ability to do things for ourselves. However, we do have each other. And that's ultimately how anything gets done, is by doing it together. And as much as you can be an individual, some great wise people have said, I could give you a hatchet and send you to the woods and ask you how long it's going to take you to send me an email. So ultimately we need other people. I didn't make this t-shirt. I didn't build this bar. I didn't figure out how electricity works and invent the microphone so that I could speak right now. So ultimately I do appreciate how other people know things, and we form interdependent, symbiotic relationships. Ultimately, that's what schools can do. Ultimately, some of the best schools are modeled around creating a community value, and a lot of schools do microloaning, they do community outreach programs, they host events for communities, they do all kinds of things. So, ultimately, though, this is not just an idea to create a school. This is a plan that I have. We actually own a building. We have a place to do this. We have a curriculum that took some people 12 years to develop. Some of our instructors go back 40 years. They have master's degrees in social work. They have 9, 10 years experience in high-level investment banking. Have held different series licenses to sanction transactions at a high level. So our school is not going to be just any typical school. This is a school designed around teaching people how to do these things, or how to understand them, and then how to relate to them in their own way. Now, we call this school Trials of Activism because ultimately activism is a buzzword these days. But an activist is somebody who wants to be active. They want to be participating. And in that regards, most of us are some level of active, and thus are activists, actively participating and working towards a solution. So, this school is designed to target those folks who want to be most active and give them a greater education on how to operate with the current struggles of government, political organization, finance, business, all this stuff. We're at a point where those in the movement want to know what is next, want to know what to do next. Well, unfortunately, we can't do much if we don't have the experience. And that's what we're experiencing right now. So, the objective is to gain more experience, to learn. It's also why this school is a post-secondary vocational learning institution that offers a proprietary curriculum. But that is specifically that is the definition by the Missouri Department of Higher Education's classification for the school that I have already started documentation on. It is the nation's first physical location to be a post-secondary operation specifically for political organizing, and thus getting these jobs done, as in electing local candidates, electing state-level candidates, and ultimately people like Bernie Sanders. So, where the conversation is going to go next all depends on who wants to show up from here on out. We want to keep running this event. We want to keep talking about ideas like this. We want to keep talking about projects that we can do, that we can actually do, that aren't just ideas, that they are plans, that we can start these projects tomorrow. I'm also always going to be here presenting the specific financial sheets and legal documentation on the school that I'm not just proposing, I guess, but actually working towards reviewing. We have about 6 instructors. We have a building valued at $370,000. Does not have any debt or any lien on it whatsoever. Sorry, what?
Just wondering where?
Yeah, Piedmont, Missouri. Piedmont, Missouri. It's 100 East Green Street, Piedmont, Missouri. Yes. 63957, I believe is the zip code. So there is currently a nonprofit and a commercial merchant's license operating in that building. There has been a school there before. It has been a residence for many people as well. It is a historical building. It was built in the 1800s, and yes, we are actually going to try and get historical society funding to these renovations. If we can get the grant writing finished for that. In general, it is a post-secondary vocational college. So what's the vocation that we're working on? Both business and political organizing. This is ultimately designed in tandem with a lot of other small projects that can create those vocations for the students themselves during actual college use. Now this ties into a conversation that dates back to, let's see, 2014, where I started my first business, Evergreen Hummus in Jacksonville, Florida, due to the help of a community of people who put to action a plan a decade before I ever showed up. That plan was Stone Soup Sunday. Stone Soup Sunday is a very special kind of potluck. It's a potluck designed to bring people together in a very special way. So instead of bringing something that you've already made at the seclusion of your home, you bring an ingredient, raw potatoes, raw meats, and together we make a soup. And we eat that soup as an alternative to a typical product. We usually made both vegetarian or vegan soups and then also a meat soup. Typically these events would bring in around 30 people, sometimes up to 50. Sometimes only 5 people would be there. We'd all hang out and we were the regulars. Ultimately though, this organizational method, Stone Soup Sunday, allowed me the connections to build a business with only $128 in my pocket. I started that business practically overnight, November 27th, 2014, November 27th. I'm at first market, and a lot of people shipped in that day, and we made $340 profit, and nobody knew who we were. That showed me that, in general, when we bring together a project that people believe in, they'll support it. And the people who were at that market today became very close friends afterwards. JP and Mariah at Southern Roots Filling Station, King Street in Jacksonville, became one of my best customers. And I offered them wholesale, and they sold it in a grocery store style method for a take home. However, we also did markets, we did grab and go items, business to business wholesale. It's a very lucrative method because, like I said, it has to tie it to the school and the ultimate vocation that I'm trying to offer. Also, like I said, this curriculum goes back to 12 years. We've been developed on this for a long time. And the business will provide vocational training in both food industry, general food industry, but also we're going to do beer, we're going to do catering, we're going to teach the basics of fermenting, and a lot of very different ideas. So, in general, it has to be lucrative. It has to have a lot of variety of product. Evergreen Hummus can offer tofu, can offer salads, can offer all these different things because, in general, we're going to a very small town, Piedmont, Missouri, and let's see, the grocery store is Walmart. It's the only one anywhere nearby. And all the local businesses source canned vegetables and canned items from things like Cisco or even that Walmart. So what we can do is offer this methodology that isn't exactly new. This is kind of developed off of a method out of the Great Depression that ultimately started the whole bulk store mentality. That general method came about because a community could set up a single building and place a bulk grocery store, a restaurant, and generally like artisanship, and offer a kitchen where artisans can come together and offer a great variety of products. And there's a bulk source, there's a wholesale source, all in one. This methodology, we believe, can be very helpful in small places like Piedmont, Missouri, where we can source these organizations in the area and connect the dots. We've already found over 100 produce providers in the local area, and we've done sourcing of their process and their price. So then, in general, the next vocation is political organizing. So after the business idea, we transition to political organizing because we need to get people elected also. This entire methodology is based off the idea that if you want to get somebody elected, or if you want to be politically active, you have to have strong business support. And if communities need to be represented, community by community, then they need to have small businesses, community by community. So the economic and the political relationship go hand in hand. So local political candidacy will also benefit from volunteership of the students in the school. They will get vocational training in actual political organizing, relating to actual candidates, relating door-to-door canvassing and phone banking in this town, and can be sourced by any organization that wants to run for office in this area. So, set out about all I can say at that point. Trying to be as concise as possible and also keep it short. I do have documentation. If anybody would like to look over exactly what's going on physically, we can do that together, face to face. And also, if anybody would like to ask any questions right now, I will take some questions.
Who exactly is the school for?
Anybody who wants to become an activist. Yeah. We want to focus mainly on young people. This is going to be a certified and accredited college. Well, okay, let's put it this way. We're going to pursue accreditation. We cannot operate until we are certified. Once that happens, people can actually use financial aid. So we would be looking at young folk who want to go into some type of education other than a normal college.
You mentioned the Auraria classes too.
Oh yeah, thank you, Robert. Thank you. So we actually do have operations here in Denver. I focus so much on Missouri stuff because it really excites me. However, the only reason why it's even relevant here is not just because I'm here, but because we do have operations in Denver. So at Auraria campus, we have 4 classrooms that are available for us over the summer to run a small seminar type, also documentary type educational program that is ultimately a module of the curriculum that I've developed in this. So we will have a place to do that here in Denver. We will also be able to do product sourcing, customer and product sourcing, mainly customer sourcing. I've been getting a lot of the product sourcing out of the way. There's a couple of grain providers up north that provide pretty much everything that we would need to start the business in terms of ingredients for hummus. So, in general, we have to find customers and we can start the business here. I do have Nooch, the grocery market, it's very close to this location. They're interested in trying the product, and also Corvus Coffee is interested in trying the product. As soon as I can get a definite yes from community members on the support for this project, we can greenlight it. Otherwise, I don't do things by myself. I don't try to do things by myself. I don't like to do things by myself. So, any other questions?
Do you know offhand, because I lived in southern Illinois for a good 10 years, and I'm familiar with that part of Missouri.
Sure.
It's all kinds of special.
Yeah.
Are you guys working, you guys just pursuing the college avenue, or is it a way of just setting up community life skills, whether it's gardening, the bare bones instead of the money side of it, where you're, I know that's a long-term goal, is to create an entity that functions financially and stuff. But I dated a girl from not far over here. When the Ford plant shut down, that whole corner of the state lost a whole lot of money. They still had the community phone lines in the 90s. So I know that's poor. And I can imagine the school you got. It was one of those big brick house old school buildings.
No, it used to be a church.
Oh, is it a church?
It is in a church, and there is one very important variable I should let you know. We only have space to do about 20 to 25 students at a time, and this is the small, sort of intimate setting that I think I would prefer.
But I guess my question would be, because I got sucked into the college racket, we spent a lot of money.
Yep. Two.
One. That part of the state, I would wonder, I mean, the community activism, I think, would be the better angle there.
Okay.
Well,
It's actually what you said. Let me just say this. That is the most primary angle. I tend to focus on the business so much because people want to know how it's going to sustain itself. However, it is the post-secondary vocation labeled under the proprietary curriculum, yada yada, is political oriented.
Okay.
And also the best economic variable in the equation, I feel, is like out-of-state students, actually. You know, and
Well, and if you get folks coming in from out of state, they can bring the income into the
Exactly.
state, into that area.
they'll buy things from the
But
local
if you can
people.
find, I mean, my experience would be that when you find an angle to get the artist to come in, I mean, especially when you get a place where they can stay, do art, get the community involved. So you get a sculptor that comes into a community and wants to go hook up with the local junkyard guy and get scrap metal to build sculpture. That's just as
Sounds like we got one right here. He's already here. He's a scrap metal sculpturist.
Props to you.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But I mean, that's what I mean. It's that. To me, that has more of a less high and mighty way of interacting with that community, because that's. I had a very special Christmas in Southeast Missouri. Let me put it to you that way.
Okay.
So those people, those folks, when you get the way of where he's going and looking for the scrap metal to do his work, and then a scrap metal guy realizes that an artist making art isn't as loony as he thinks, or loonier. But I mean, that's the area of the community where you get the folks that know, have the agricultural background, come in and help people build the gardens, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Can I talk with you more when I'm off the stage? For
Yeah,
sure?
I'm just, I had a question, I gotta go here in a bit, so.
Okay. I don't know how much of that got on. I don't know how much of what you said got on there.
Sorry, it's just words.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool, man. It's great because what you said was actually a very, very great point. I just wanted to sum it up a little bit, make sure everyone heard that. He, in general, kind of correct me, you know, as I go along here, but I think what he's talking about is relating specifically to the individuals and how the individuals in the community see these variables, like not necessarily coming in like with business or with politics or with anything from our perspective, but trying to think about how
Just like our experience earlier.
how they do things. Yeah.
What, you know,
The guy.
because that's going to be the reaction.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
you
okay.
hear-
A
you
bit.
think of an environment where they hear on a particular bandwidth of radio
Yeah.
what's going on, and if you step in and be the loud version of what they're already hearing about, it's the other angles of getting to doing the good without the dogma.
Yeah. So to make sure that this part is heard by everybody, what he was saying too was about a scrap metal artist in generally Southeast Missouri. These people in general, that's how they see art. But maybe if they see art in another way, then it can kind of be confusing sometimes. But so ultimately, you show up with the way that they view art, or the way that they view community action. Is that typically what you're saying?
It's showing you get carpenters, you get steel workers involved in the side of the art of the function of creating the art, where they actually meet an artist, they see how things happen, instead of it just being the nuttier side.
The regular.
I mean, what their perception is, because the folks in that part of Missouri, I swear to God, their only perception of the greater world, Denver or New York or anything else, or Bernie Sanders, is going to be the nutty stuff they hear on the radio. So if you're wanting to promote an activism that's progressive, it's got to be the grassroots of you're building communities, you're building sustainable housing that's efficient, you know, those kinds of things. All those things go together.
Yeah.
And the artists, wackos that are willing to live in crazy places for a chance to work for that's not too expensive. That's what places like Detroit, Southeast Missouri, and everywhere else need.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel you, man. I feel you. There's a definite thing to be said about folks who just kind of barge into a situation, think that they know everything, and kind of go about things away. And a lot of the folks turn off and don't really correct those people. And then those people go through and wreak absolute carnage on ideas and plans. And in general, it's sad because it's ultimately a lack of being humble. It's a lack of understanding how to relate to people on their level and not come at them with all the nutty stuff or the stuff that to them in perspective is different. It's out there. It's way too different to relate to. So you have to relate to people on their level. Part of that is being humble, not having too much pride, being able to relate to as many people as possible. That's why in the first semester of the school, we do have to do basic data collection, community outreach to do that type of stuff, just to figure out what we're up against. The person who owns the building currently lives there, and her great aunt, I believe, started the town. She started a gas station out in the middle of nowhere that eventually developed in Piedmont, Missouri. And so ultimately, our friend who owns the building, Mary Bishop, and then her daughter, power of attorney, Shelby, they've already talked to the community about this. They've talked to them about it becoming a school again, because it was a school before. So we've already done a little bit of outreach. Shelby herself, years ago, involved in a story trying to get to, gosh, sorry Shelby, I don't remember where exactly you were going, but she had to go somewhere for a new job, and the town kind of pitched in and gave her a substantial amount of funds to get there. There's only like 2,000 people in this town, so it's very easy to get to know people at that level. Yeah, and that's what we want to do. We want to get to know people, and we want to get to know them and help them in what it means to help them, not what we think it means to help people. So I see a lot of that political organizing, that campaigns show up, and they muscle their way through with an idea that they had, that they created in absolute seclusion, and then kind of ruin a movement that they could have created had they related to the community on the community's level. So yeah, I want to get done talking. Is there anybody else who has questions? No? Okay, cool. Like I said, if anybody wants to look over any of the official stuff, I'll be sitting right here, right over here, and definitely available at any point in time. Also, I always sum this up and want to sum this up to say, yes, this is still burning your bus. We are still trying to figure out how and what to do there, and part of that is keeping the community together. Part of that is this exact meeting, because it is, what did you say, Robert, earlier? The most events,
We've had more official Bernie Sanders events here at the Skylark Lounge than any other venue in the United States.
More official events registered for Bernie Sanders right here in this building than anywhere else in the United States. Let's keep that going. This is about being together. That's the most important part about any family. And yeah, let's figure out what to do together. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Amran. Bernie or bust. That's the message that we try to have every Wednesday. And that is, what are we going to do as the political revolution? It's more than just Bernie. As Bernie has been saying since the beginning, this is up to us. It's not up to Bernie. Bernie can't do anything on his own. It is all of us behind him as a political revolution creating change. And we have to do that locally. And here locally, we need to contest those establishment Democrats who don't want to change, who want to keep consistent with the corporatism that is going on right now. We have to change that. We have to get involved with that. So every Wednesday we will try to have something here at the Skylark to present that mode of thinking. But we've got to continue this revolution. If we fall back into the trap of the Democrats or the Republicans, we're going to get the same old shit that we've been getting forever. That's the status quo. The status quo is no longer acceptable for any of us. All of us that are here. We don't want the status quo no more. We don't want to be supporting things like the military just so the military supports corporations. We need less military action, and we need more money put back into the people of this nation. We need free education for those who cannot afford it. We need health care for everybody. These are the platforms that the rest of the world have gotten decades ago. We need this too. And so this is what the political revolution is about. So continue to come here each and every Wednesday at 6 p.m. and we will try to present something new to you all. And on June 22nd, we will have a potluck here as a progressive movement. And I think that the Colorado Political Revolution will be the ones that will be sponsoring that. And whatever you're feeling right now, do not give up hope. We were going to have Bernie Sanders as our next president. It's looking like he's going to be our independent candidate president because Hillary is going to probably get the nomination. But Bernie's not going to stop. He's just going to move over to the Green Party. Jill Stein will step down as vice president, and we will have our first independent president in the last century. Let's keep the faith. Thank you, everybody, for showing up tonight.